At any given time, there are 50 families on the streets of Missoula. That's about 110 children. Kurt Brockway is accused of slamming the boy to the ground and fracturing his skull because he didn't take his hat off during the national anthem. Many people considering this triumph over evil, as Trooper Palmer is home after being so gravely injured 2 months ago, shot in the head. Mount Jumbo is closed for business. There is an obvious sign behind me. Very obvious that there is no access to this mountain at all. When you go sailing, you can leave your troubles on the shore. And it's not just a physical difference, it's an emotional one. If your favorite movie is School of Rock and you secretly wish you were in an 80s hair band, we got a story for you. The Missoula competition can only take 24 teams, so you do have to pre-register online. Exactly 20 years to the day of that discovery in the dumpster. And I got a private message on Facebook from somebody named Nadia. None other than baby Grace. So smaller businesses know they face a formidable foe against that internet and against perhaps smaller holiday budgets. Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg.
There are families living in cars in Missoula tonight, hoping they have found a safe place to park overnight and hoping someday they'll have a home of their own. Today, the YWCA and the Missoula Interfaith Collaborative began its final push towards a brand new multi-million-dollar facility that will provide shelter to these families and a safe place for victims of domestic violence. It's a game changer in Missoula, and it will change lives. Plus, many do genetic testing on dog waste to identify a dog and its owner when they don't pick up after their animal, and then sometimes they can be issued a fine, a job I would not want. Eric tells me he loves fly fishing so much, no matter what, he would figure out a way to get on this boat. But with the transom, he's able to get on and off easily and without getting injured. It has been more than a year and a half since a young Ronan woman was killed in the Mission Valley after court documents say she was pushed out of a moving truck. Friends and family of the man who was killed in last week's attack in Missoula still trying to process the loss of 28-year-old Shelly Hayes. And where it's difficult to tell somebody's life story in just a few sound bites, we spoke with one of Shelly's childhood friends, and before long, a picture emerged of a quintessential Missoula man, one who loved to laugh, loved his family, and was completely devoted to his 5-year-old daughter. Shelly Hayes never passed up a chance for fun. He loved fast bikes, fast snowmobiles, fast trucks, and if they weren't fast enough, he could fix that. In the basement of the Zootown Arts Community Center in Missoula, a journey is about to begin. 4 girls meet for the first time on this February day to create something amazing. Music. This is Girls Rock Camp. In news, there are those stories that just stay with you forever. For me, it was a story that happened 20 years ago, early one March morning in Missoula. A baby's cry coming from deep inside a dumpster tucked behind a bowling alley, and in that dumpster, a newborn girl. Her core temperature just 86 degrees before she was rescued. We called her Baby Grace, and Western Montana did everything it could to support this tiny child. Well, now she's all grown up, and she would like to say thank you. Were you always aware how much Missoula loved and supported you? Never even met you, but how much you made such an impact on this town.
I have hundreds of letters and stuffed animals that I still have that are all signed from people all across the county, which is crazy because it's like, you know, you read them and there's so much love in them.
20-year-old Nadia has scrapbooks and old news stories on DVDs about the day she was born in Missoula. March 1st, 1999. It was an unforgettable night.
Just after midnight this morning, 17-year-old Kim Maudry was walking to the Liberty Lanes bowling alley from a nearby apartment to make a phone call. Maudry told KPAX she heard crying coming from inside this trash bin. When she got closer, she heard gasping sounds.
A newborn, left to die in a dumpster, stuffed in a plastic bag, wrapped in blankets, and shoved underneath the trash.
All of the things that they did to end my life at the time actually were things that helped me survive.
There seemed to be no question as to the intent. Missoula police officer Jim Pontrelli was there that night. He still can't forget it.
No, I was just stunned that someone did that. I can't imagine it. I still think about it.
An ambulance rushed the baby to the hospital where remarkably she was in pretty good shape. But who was she? Who would do this to her? While detectives searched for her birth parents, this tiny 6-pound, 3-ounce abandoned newborn was inundated with love and support from the people of western Montana.
Dear baby, if you need anything that we are able to provide, please.
Hundreds of cards and gifts, hundreds of people hoping to adopt this infant. Nadia was quickly placed with her foster family, who would later adopt her, the McCormicks of Stevensville. They instantly fell in love with this child. And from the beginning, they told her the truth about her birth.
I knew the whole thing up front. Everything, the dumpster, that I don't know my birth parents. And I think that gave me a good look at my parents and really appreciate who they are and their honesty.
It was such a miraculous situation that I felt that how can you not tell her story? I'd never wanted to feel like I had to keep this quiet.
Over the years, we respected her privacy since her birth story was so extraordinary. But I often wondered, what became of baby Grace? So it was this March 1st, 2019, exactly 20 years to the day of that discovery in the dumpster, and I got a private message on Facebook from somebody named Nadia, none other than baby Grace. And it was her 20th birthday. What's 20 years? Like, what was it about that day that made you reach out?
We used to have a tradition that every year on my birthday we would rewatch the old tapes that you guys sent us a while back. And we hadn't watched them in a few years, and we had just moved to Oregon, and so we were kind of like going through the phase of just wanting to watch it all again. And I just remember sitting down and being like, I don't think I've actually really thanked everybody. And it was one of those realizations where I thought, yeah, I think I'll just reach out to everybody and show my appreciation.
Hi. How are you?
She carries the love of this community with her as she makes her way through life. Donations from 20 years ago are helping to pay for college today. The case itself is still open. The birth parents never found. No answers yet as to why somebody gave birth to a baby and left her to die. If you could say anything to them, would you?
I forgave them a long time ago. Sorry. I didn't think I'd get emotional. Whatever they went through, whatever they felt that they needed to get rid of me for, that's for them to know. I don't need to know. I don't need to know who they are. I don't need to know their story. That's on them. And I'm happy.
But those were the only tears in this interview. Nadia, our baby Grace, is a wonderful, happy young woman going to college to become a nurse. She's a young woman guided by her family and her faith.
It's been a comfort to me a lot. It's not as hard for me to say, oh yeah, somebody tried to kill me when I was a baby. It's more like, you know, things happen and I think I got the best place I could be and the best parents that I could have. So yeah, I'm just happy with it.
She was loved from the moment her tiny cries first echoed from that dumpster. It is a life to celebrate, a life that is nothing short of amazing.
God really likes to save people. He really does.
Nadia's story energized the state legislature to create a new law protecting both babies from harm and birth parents who may feel they're in a desperate situation and have no options. It's the Montana Safe Haven Law that then Governor Judy Martz signed into law in 2001. Tomorrow we'll talk to one of the lawmakers who sponsored this bill and hear how it saved a handful of children from danger.
Whoa.
Every day, Casey Blanchard gets better at maneuvering his wheelchair around his Stevensville home. And every day, he gets a little bit stronger.
So if I do this, you can't feel that.
And that is a miracle. It was last March when a gunman shot him 8 times, the bullets shattering bones and organs. Damage that's left Casey unable to walk. So far, he's had 11 surgeries, with more to come to remove shrapnel. As the bullets were hitting you, were you aware that that's what was happening? And did it hurt, or were you just...
Yeah. It was, you know, it felt like taking 1,000 wasps and getting like hit in the face per se, or getting stung a million times. That's kind of what it felt like.
The attack last March killed his friend, Shelley Hayes. It critically wounded his mother, Julie Blanchard. Later that night, the suspect shot and critically wounded Highway Patrol Trooper Wade Palmer. Casey can't discuss certain things about that night. This case is still under investigation. But he remembers the moments after he was shot, waiting for help.
More or less just thinking about the kids and wife and staring at the stars. That's about it. And then the paramedics picked me up. But then I don't know nothing for, literally, don't remember much for 3 weeks after that.
Casey was rushed to St. Patrick Hospital and later flown to Salt Lake City. When his wife Leah saw her neighbors, the Palmers, in the same hospital, it was confusing until she realized Casey and Wade were both critically injured that same night. It would be weeks before Casey knew the full extent of what happened.
I didn't even know really what was going on. I thought I was in a big drain. I told myself to wake up.
They would have to tell every nurse coming on shift not to say anything, because they didn't want him to decline. And finally he started asking questions like, where are the other two? What happened? Where's my mom? And the nurses were kind of the ones that said, I think it's time you tell him. He's asking a lot of questions. He's awake.
As the months passed, Casey got stronger. In June, he came home to be with his young sons and to start a new life of healing and rehab.
We're like, oh no, what are we gonna do?
Leah is quick with a smile and a laugh, and she's already worked as a home health aide, so she was prepared for her new role.
I have always been a caregiver. This has just been natural for me. I don't want to say it's natural because what happened was super sad, but it has been amazing because I am a caregiver. I love taking care of people. I take care of my kids, and so I didn't think it was abnormal. He's my husband. I love him so much. I could take care of him forever.
She also knows her family is supported by the love of this community that's been there from the start.
They haven't given up on us either. Just the support has really helped us level out and get comfortable with being home.
Settle down.
Casey hopes to be back at work at Gomer's Diesel Service and Repair. In fact, they're getting an office ready for his return. And this fall, this family of 4 becomes a family of 5, with a new baby boy arriving in October. Time will tell the extent of Casey's paralysis, but no matter what, he's ready for his future. If you could take me 10 years or so into the future, what do you think you'll be doing? How do you think you'll be? What will you be doing?
I see a lot of people that are in wheelchairs, it's half and half. A lot of people just get in a slump and don't, progress, which kind of sucks. But the other half of people, they just take it and just roll down the road. I mean, rather than running, you're rolling. It's not a big deal. So.
You're going to be a roller?
Yeah, at least for a while, if not for life, so it doesn't bother me.
Now, Casey just got a new adaptive truck so he can drive soon, and he and Leah are hoping to buy a new house that can better accommodate his wheelchair. You'll remember Casey's mother, Julie, passed away in June. There's a celebration of her life scheduled for later this month. Trooper Palmer is continuing his recovery in Missoula with his rehabilitation. The suspect in this case remains in jail tonight.